I'd love it.
I would
love
too.
it.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. You know what else is amazing?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. On today's show, we're diving back into Final Fantasy Memory of Heroes. We're going to cover Final Fantasy Part 2. That is what we are doing. Not Final Fantasy Part 2. Just Final Fantasy 2. It's not a Part 2.
Yeah.
It's a 2. It's a dose. It's I. As the Romans would say. And when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. And head on over to patreon.com/pixelitpod, where you can join us for free, or you can join us at the $1 tier and get access to Phil's blog, where he reviews books.
We got more coming, by the way.
He's got more coming.
Hiccup, but they're coming. They're coming. Damn it.
Hey, you know what? We're parents. You know, we get that. We get that bonus stuff over to you when we can. Don't worry, it's always on track. $5 tier gets you access to the pre-show filter-in bonus, and $10 gets you access to all of the above. Plus, you get your name read out in the episode. So what's better than that? Ooh. So to that end, I want to thank Jesus Loves You, Kyle Seaman, Ruthless Mutter, Middle of Things, Sigma Sal, and Friendly Friend. Thank you for being a friend.
Yes, indeed.
And now, on with the show. Phil, you said you were looking up stuff about Final Fantasy II. I mean, I played 30 seconds of it once on my cracked Nintendo DS, if I recall correctly. It's been released. I think you can just buy it on Steam now.
Yes, they've got the remaster, which I played the first one for. It's got the same problem that a lot of remakes and remasters that are Nintendo based have, and that's they're expecting like $50 for a new coat of paint on a 40-year-old game. But I thought I'd at least give the first one a try and relive those old feelings, and had a lot of fun with it. And now I'm actually, I will say, I'm kind of interested in playing Final Fantasy II. Now this one originally didn't release in the States. It was a Japanese-only exclusive. And when we got Final Fantasy II on the SNES, that was their Final Fantasy IV. And anybody who has followed Final Fantasy for any length of time knows that it gets into all kinds of weird mindfuckery with, like, the Japanese got this, the Americans got that, Mystic Quest, the slap heard around the world, shit like that. So I think the most interesting thing about this one is that rather than go with the experience points system, which the first one did and a lot of RPGs did, this is kind of ahead of its time. It went kind of like a use the skills and gain the abilities kind of thing. Like if you use an axe for long enough, you'll get better with the axe. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't quite work.
It was a job system, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. And it went from Final Fantasy 1, which is about as basic of a JRPG
your D&D, straight up classic. With the classic D&D monster manual monsters. Exactly.
Nothing too rough, nothing too rough around the edges, very smooth. And this one actually got very intricate in its system, and as we were discussing before the show started, also in its storyline, to the point that whereas anyone who listened to the first episode of this one with First Final Fantasy knows that we're kind of laughing about it because he had to invent characters and character arcs for them, and such as they were, because it was a very general kind of storyline. You didn't learn much about the characters you were playing. Final Fantasy II threw that out the window, and it has a very character-centric storyline. It's you have characters who have traits and that sort of thing. It's much more what we expect out of a Final Fantasy now.
Yeah.
So the fact that they jumped into it that fast is actually really impressive.
Yeah.
And it made me in the process of research, because I've never played it, but in the process of researching it, I was like, oh, I think I do. I think I want to.
It's $12 on Steam.
Yeah, that works.
And you can get the pixel remaster with just the grossest font, just a terrible font. It is what is this Helvetica new thin, like condensed bullshit that it's got here.
It's pretty bad.
It's really bad. I
will say I
more kerning, please.
Yeah, it's not great. I think the best thing about those though is the music. They have like reorchestrated the music. It fucking rocks. It's really
okay. Yeah. And so Final Fantasy II is the introduction of the Chocobo.
Yes, like the iconic Chocobo, which is just the representative of Final Fantasy wherever your Final Fantasies are sold.
Yeah, you got your Chocobos and your Sids, the things that last forever.
Yes, the things that will never go anywhere.
You got an airship, you got a Sid.
Yep, you sure do. And that's the thing. So knowing that, it felt to me going in like this was going to go a little smoother than maybe the first one did. And I was right, but who cares at the end of the day?
I mean, it's not great still.
No, it's still not great.
Spoiler warning for our thoughts in, approximately 30 minutes, but still not great because it's a lot of telling and not showing. Like,
bingo.
If you look at the plot of Final Fantasy II, after reading it, it's like, okay, well, you could have expended it. You could have taken that and extended it out to like a 400 page straight up sword and sorcery novel.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with this kind of adaptation for a game like this. You should either like give it the full sword and sorcery treatment or not at all. And they chose neither.
A 40 page plot summary,
Yeah, pretty much. It's bleak. It's pretty bleak.
Yeah.
So, but so that's what we're getting into here.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and put the body in the marsh.
Let's do it. Body, marsh, big time.
When I tell you to dump a body in the marsh, you dump them in the marsh.
Chapter 1, that begins with our main character, Furion. He is waking up to see that he is in a storehouse. Basically, his town has been burned to the ground by the Imperial army from Palamecia. And this is the second time he's lost a set of parents. So when he was a kid, the town was burned down and his parents died. And he was taken in by another a loving couple, and who were the parents of his friends, Leon and Maria. And they had also taken in another kid named Guy. So those foster parents, step parents, they're also dead now. So
they're all dead. Yeah.
Furion, 4 parents. He's 0 for 4.
It's just a bad time to know Furion. Yeah. I'm not saying that it's his fault. I'm just saying he's the least common denominator here.
So they are running from the army and they get caught up into a fight with some soldiers. And then Leon and Furion try fighting them off. Furion is gravely wounded and he sees Leon in their clutches and he passes out. And then they are awake again and they are Furion has been healed and by a man named Minwu, who is Minwu.
I was going to ask you how you pronounce that. That was.
I'm going with Minwu. Woo.
That probably makes the most sense.
So yeah, Minwu. He wet the whistle. Indeed, he heals Furion. They're in a town called Altair. I'm going with Altair instead of Altair.
It sounds cooler.
Yeah, it sounds cooler, and I also think that's isn't that an Assassin's Creed protagonist?
Oh, it totally is. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I have no business knowing that because that is a series that I kind of loathe, but that's absolutely true. Yeah.
You love it. You loathe.
I have hate fucked that game franchise more than once. Even the one that I like the most, the pirate one, which has some excellent moments, still infuriated me to no end. So it's a very love-hate relationship I've got there.
Yeah. We should read another Assassin's Creed thing. Remember when we read an Assassin's Creed thing and it was one of the worst graphic novels we've ever read? Like,
seriously.
The art style was so bad that you couldn't tell what was happening.
And they've got novels. I'm going to choose one of those for our lineup for next year. I think that would be something new, something to play with.
Yeah. We also have a bunch of requests in our Discord. Join our Discord if you want to request something.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, they're saved and they want to join the rebel army, of course, because rebels are amazing.
Rebels are cool.
Who wouldn't want to be a rebel, except in Halo, I guess.
Yeah, that's the extent of it, I guess.
The Princess Hilda is like, no, you're an idiot. And then Minwoo is basically like, all right, chill out. All right, you can't join yet, but we're gonna give you a little something to test your skills, and then you can join because you're just kids. You're a couple of kids. You're like 12 years old, but you're the chosen ones. Clearly, obviously, we wouldn't be in prose format right now if you weren't.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell something's the color correction around us looks really good. I feel handsomer than I should. I get the impression you guys are the main characters. So let's just go with that.
Yeah. So they go into a town and basically are there to gather information. And they're overhearing a couple of guys talking about a man who is gravely wounded and taken to a tavern. And they go to the tavern and they're like, hey, what's up? And the bartender's like, I don't know, what's up? And then Furion's like, Wild Rose. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're in the know. Yeah.
The fox flies at midnight. Yeah,
the fox flies at midnight. And the cow jumps over the moon.
Yeah. That's the one, baby.
Good night, moon. So they go down and see a really wounded dude, and his name is Scott. He is the crown prince. What? Scott, that name take you for a loop with all the other
Crown
names?
Prince Scott. This is no shade to anyone named Scott. It's just like we have Princess Hilda, which
Furion.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Furion. And then we've got Guy. And
Maria.
Prince Scott. Prince Scott. Okay.
Very disarming. Dude. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever been a royal lineage with Scott mixed in there.
Is Scott short for something?
Scott
Is it just a name all by itself? Scott. Scottian.
Scott short.
There we go.
Something. He's Googling.
Processing.
Processing. No.
I don't know why I'm so disappointed. I guess I wanted to give this guy the benefit of the doubt that if Scott was short for something, he would just do the full name. If I were in Game of Thrones, I wouldn't be Phil. I'd be Philip. We all know that.
Philip.
So you can just do that.
Yeah. No, Scott is short for nothing. And is traditionally, it used to be just a surname. And you know what it meant as a surname?
What's that?
From Scotland.
I walked right into that one. That was a beach ball across home plate, and I still felt the need to swing. I don't know what the fuck happened to me. Once again, like everything, I'm going to blame my child. I blame him.
Graham. who has no Scott in his name.
King Graham, no Scots.
King Graham, he's not a Scot.
No.
Anyway, Kashwan, which he is the Crown Prince Scott of Kashwan, is an allied nation to Finn. So that's why they were involved, and they were betrayed by a man named Count Borgin.
I love it.
Anyway, he's like, tell Hilda I love her. Also, here's some stuff to take with you. It's a token. It's a ring, and yeah. So they deliver the message to Hilda, and Hilda's pretty bummed. This is chapter 2.
Mm.
Yada yada yada. They go to a town called. So they get into the army. They did their thing. They found Scott, which apparently was their mission. And then they get invited to a town, or invited to join. They're off to a town named Paloom because they need to find Mithril. So basically, the Mithril mines have been taken over by the Empire. They need to get them back. And to do that, they need to take a ferry to Poft, and then they go to a place called Salamand, which is where they'll find Yosef. And along the way, you have Maria, who is the stand-in white mage. She's learning magic spells. Right. She's learning cure spells and stuff like that. They meet Joseph. Yeah. Yeah, they meet Joseph. A lot of people they get to the town. There's just like women and children left. There's no men. And they meet Joseph. And Joseph is a big burly man who is like, I cannot help you. I will not help you. And then he throws them out of his house. But in doing so, he kind of like nonchalantly gives them the map so that he's covered. The map of the mines.
Very sneaky. Very sneaky.
He's a very sneaky dude.
Yeah.
And so Minwoo is like, we got a map.
Ah.
Aha.
Aha.
Aha. With the map's guidance, they find their way to the mine and through it, and they take down dudes, et cetera, et cetera. And then they find a jail cell in the mines, and they rescue a dude named Paul. Remember Paul, because that'll come back later.
Put a pin in Paul.
Put a pin in Paul. Paul is a thief. He's like, thank you for rescuing me. Ha-cha-cha. And he gets on out of it.
You know that classic rogue tagline of ha-cha-cha? Like, that's just what... If I play D&D with one more guy who has a rogue thief that says ha-cha-cha as his, like, character thing, I'm going to snap. I'm just going to snap.
Yeah. His name is Paul Big Snake. Paul Big Snake. Snakeroo. Big Snakeroo.
Big Snakerino.
Big Snakerino. That man is Paul. The girl that they found, though, is Yosef's daughter. I'm assuming the name is Yosef and not Joseph because it's spelled Josef.
Yeah, that kind of encourages you to.
It feels like a Yosef, right?
Yeah, do a Scandinavian J, right?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Scandinavian J.
That's actually, that is my rap name.
You might ask why.
Scandinavian J.
Yeah, the girl's name's Nellie. They kill some more dudes, and they reunite Nellie with Yosef because it was getting hot in there.
I mean, you listening at home, people?
You get it?
You get it? You freaks.
So hot in here. That was Nelly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I made the reference for like a minute, so
yeah,
it was Nelly. Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear the audience at home laughing. Anyway, they reunite.
that makes it tougher.
They got the Mithril. They got the Gramps. They got the Mithril mines, and they're ready to go. and they're given some mithril equipment. And if you have mithril equipment this early in the game, you're doing pretty good.
You're off to a great start. Yeah,
you're off to a great start. So the Empire's working on this big airship called the Dreadnought, which it's basically like the Death Star of Final Fantasy II.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So they need to figure out what to do with the Dreadnought. The idea is we're just going to attack it. We're going to see what happens. We're going to attack it directly, and not attack it directly, but go and deal with it directly.
Yeah.
So they get to the Dreadnought and they find a knight in black iron armor, the Black Knight, and she seems familiar. And their friend Leon has been missing since the beginning of the game.
What?
It's just coincidence. Anyway,
put a pin in the Black Knight.
Put in the pin in the Black Knight. They managed not to stop the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought launches and just starts obliterating towns and cities across the map. It's a bad thing.
It's a bad time.
It's a bad time. We're in chapter 4 and they're like, God, what do we do? And Sid's like, well, we can pour some sunfire into the engine. And they're like, why didn't you say that earlier? And Sid's like, well, you didn't ask me. Now, did you? Baby doll.
You know, that's true. They didn't.
And he did this.
Yeah, yeah.
And then his sunglasses went like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And you heard the Who screaming in the background.
Yeah.
It was pretty epic, gotta say.
It was pretty epic lulls.
Pretty epic.
So they hit up Yosef for some information, and they're gonna they get a quest directly from Princess Hilda to go get the Sunfire, and they're gonna do it.
Damn it!
They travel with Yosef through some snowy land and get to where the cave where the Sunfire is going to be. And they venture through, kill some monsters. Like the monster killing is pretty like hand wavy in this story.
It's very, they're like, and they killed some guys, but really what you want to know about is the personal drama. And you're like, I mean, probably, yeah, you're probably right.
Probably right. They get to the Sunfire. They're like, all right, we're going to get the Sunfire and then we're getting onto the Dreadnought. And they're going, and I forgot to mention that there is a man with them named Gordon. And I can't remember who the fuck Gordon is.
Gordon.
Why is Gordon? Oh, Gordon, duh. Gordon is Scott's brother.
Right.
So yes. Gordon is the new crown prince of Cashew Land. And and Gordon's like, hey, my grief, I need to kill some people. So Gordon joins them as the fourth party member. It's Gordon, and they got Yosef, and they're in there and they find the Sunfire. And as they're leaving, Count Borgin.
Count Chocula.
Count Borgin. He's there and he has a knife to Gordon's neck. I'm going to disregard why he's there. Why would he be there?
It doesn't. Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Don't think about it too hard.
I'm not going to think about it too hard. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense for somebody who is, they call him, he's first referred to as a count. Now he's a general.
Right. Yeah.
Either rank.
It's a little weird no matter what. Yeah.
No matter what. Regardless and irregardless. He's got Gordon wrapped up. He's got a neck to Gordon's throat. And he's like, I'll kill him. And Gordon's just like, fucking do it. And Borgin's like,
I really didn't expect you to react that way.
Expect you to react that way.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Gordon manages to get out. He throws a lantern and he like flicks one of the lantern he's holding up in the air, and Borgen's like, and Gordon slides at it, and they're running, and Borgen's like, well, fine, then I'm gonna stop you this way, and he takes out like a bomb and he detonates it, killing him.
Not a great melee weapon, if we're being honest with ourselves here.
Yeah. This guy who was presented as very vain, I don't see him doing that from what little we know.
No, yeah, that character motivation doesn't quite sit well with me.
Yeah,
but okay.
He's annoyed that the Dark Knight has been giving him orders, but that's about it.
Yeah.
He's not the Black Knight. He's the Dark Knight.
They keep calling him the Dark Knight, and I keep seeing Batman. It never stops. It never stops.
Batman. And he's the Dark Knight Returns. What's his name? Fucking Miller.
Crap. Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. That's the Frank Miller kills people and doesn't care version of Batman.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Really doesn't care.
Really doesn't care. This like knocks all the rocks unstable in the cave, and Yosef, being the big burly man he is, holds the cave open himself. Spider-Man illusions here. Where Spider-Man holds up a building so people can get out. Yosef does the same thing with his Final Fantasy plot strength and holds up the entrance to the cave for them to all get out, and then the cave collapses on him. And that is a picture wrap on Yosef.
There goes a goddamn hero.
There goes a goddamn hero. Nellie is very sad.
It's getting lukewarm in here.
It is lukewarm in here.
So keep on most of your clothes.
My tea has gotten almost undrinkable.
Yeah, just disgusting. It really is.
Just disgusting. Disgusting dirt water. So Furion blames himself because he had a chance to kill Borgen and Bafsk. He really didn't, but we're not.
Yeah, we're not gonna. Let's not. Yeah. All right. You wanna brood over that? Fine. It's your right.
So Sid they're like, all right, well, we got to get on the Dreadnought, and we're like, oh, the Dreadnought's like here, and it's chasing the airship.
Is that relevant to? Does that help for you to know that? I guess. Yeah,
I guess. Well, the Dreadnought is over the capital right now, and it's chasing Sid's airship, and for some reason, Princess Hilda is on the airship. They could see from the ground somehow. So they're like, all right, well, let's get on some chocobos and chase after them. So they chase after some chocobos, or they get the chocobos, and they chase after Sid and the Dreadnought, and they get to where the Dreadnought has Sid's airship pinned down, and they've already been taken prisoners, Sid and Princess Hilda. So they get onto the airship, and they go through and they fight their way through the Dreadnought, and then they find Sid and Hilda on the in the jail area. And then they run in with the Dark Knight again, and they're fighting with him, but the Dark Knight is like falls after look at that.
Up. Hey, Ron.
Hello.
Hello.
I love your shirt. It's beautiful.
Thank you. That's my familial policy.
Beautiful.
Bye.
Bye. Who the hell was that?
So they make the connection that the Dark Knight is Bruce Wayne. No, it's Leon. It's Leon. And he is like not answering. That Maria, who is his sister, is like, why have you joined the evil bad guys? And he doesn't answer. And they run away. They get to Sid's airship and they fly off. And they by the way put the Sunfire into the Dreadnought, and it crashes.
It's just episode 1. It's just episode 4.
Yeah.
It's that's all this is at this point. This is because that thing was Death Starring all over their ass.
It was Death Starring it was Death Starring the little towns. It Death Starring farms. It was Death Starring.
Oh yeah.
Single chickens sometimes.
Yeah,
it would just
individual chickens. Yeah,
individual chickens.
Picking them off one by one based on criteria that they did not tell anyone about.
Governor, I just imagine Governor Tarkin sitting there and be like, at what he's like, Captain, lower the power to 1/1,000,000th and shoot chicken.
Okay, now do that one. Now do that one.
That one. And it's like
now. And that one.
And it's like the whole thing, and it like the beams, and it's just like it's and all around
everything.
There's just like a single like farm and chicken, and it's like
just disappearing, just ceasing to be.
That's what I wouldn't have given to just be Tarkin for a day.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be fun.
The only
now I'm getting wistful.
So they killed the Dreadnought. They talk about why did Leon join the bad guys? And they go and they talk to the king, and the king is like, hey, you guys are great, but I'm dying. I've been dying this entire time, and I'm really fucking dying now. Minwoo, get over here. I need you to go get Ultima for me. And she's like, I'm sorry. And Minwoo's like, I understand. We'll find out why he's sorry later.
Yeah.
And then the king dies. And Furion goes to look for Hilda, and Hilda is in her room, and she's taking it really hard. Uh-oh, she's a snake lady.
Yep. It's such a... It's literally like he like the sheets fall down, and it's so casually written. It's like, and he notices that the bottom half of her is a snake. And you're like, gee, okay,
Jesus, was she always a snake?
Yeah, is that something that they just didn't tell us about Hilda in the first? Oh no, she's an imposter. Okay, good.
She's okay. Got it.
Okay, I feel less
crazy.
Did she
do this from the beginning, or no, it's not her.
No.
Okay. It's just they got like a Naga lady.
Yeah.
That looked like her, I guess.
Yeah. They took care of it. Yeah,
they took care of it. Anyway, the Emperor of Palamecia, which is the bad guys, by the way, they have declared a tournament, and Princess Hilda is the prize. So whoever wins the tournament, it's just real mustache twirly.
It's just that's like and if you don't fall for that, we'll tie her to a railroad track. It's so stupid. It's like just have her prisoner, man. Like,
I'll tie her to a railroad track with a bomb. I'm like, well, why do you need the bomb? Do you need the bomb and the train? We're like, well,
don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. Just be feared. Fearful.
Afeared. I love
it. It was, everybody agrees that it's a trap, but it's, and I feel like this happens so often where it's like it's a trap, but it's a trap we have to walk into anyway.
Yeah.
Not just in this. I'm just talking about it's like just a
in
trope.
general.
It's
very well-worn territory.
We know it's a trap, but we gotta go through it anyway. And be like, no, you don't.
You don't. I don't know if you could. You know that it's a trap. You could do a thing. You could come up with your own trap in response to that. And sometimes they do, to be fair, in the movies. But yeah. So
they get there and they are fighting in this tournament, except there's they are fighting against a behemoth.
Mm-hmm.
and there's only two people in the room aside from the behemoth, and that's the Emperor himself and a jester, which is real foreshadowing to Final Fantasy VI.
What is that for? I never played Final Fantasy VI.
You never? Oh, okay. So in Final Fantasy VI, the big twist is the jester Kafka kills the emperor and proclaims himself king, and is like he's a real lunatic. Like he orchestrates like entire towns being poisoned to death and things like that.
I love it. Okay, that's great. That's good stuff.
Final Fantasy VI, great game. If you haven't played it already, some say possibly the best written Final Fantasy game. You get to suplex a train.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
That's the one with suplexing a train.
Okay. Yes. I have heard of that.
They fight the behemoth. They kill the behemoth.
And it's another hand wavy moment. It's done. Don't worry about it.
It's done. And then they're like, the Emperor's like, well, you're still trapped in here. And they're like, we're not trapped with you. You're trapped with us. And they try to kill the Emperor, and it's just an illusion. And then the jester is like, ha, 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 and pulls the trap door, and they fall through. And then they are saved by Paul. Remember Paul?
I do remember Paul.
It was the thief they saved earlier.
Yeah, the one that we put a pin in Paul.
We put a pin in Paul, and Paul is back. Unpin Paul because he has popped our protagonists.
Our prisoner protagonists.
Our prisoned protagonist from prison. They've been popped
out of
from
peril.
Their pale.
That's a good one.
Jail cell.
Let's write that down. Let's write that down. Oh, that one.
So it's like that. There's a Family Guy reference, and I'm not making a habit of referencing Family Guy. But I have seen this one bit where Peter is in danger and Spider-Man saves him.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Thanks, Spider-Man." And Spider-Man's like,
one.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah. Such a random detail. I love it. Everybody gets one.
And this is what made me think of that.
It's good. It's good.
Paul just pops his head in and he goes, everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one. Thanks, Paul.
But they save Hilda. Hilda is down there as well. And they get on the airship and they leave. Yeah. They're gone. Yeah. Everybody's happy by Hilda being there. And Hilda's like, all right, well, I guess I'm just learning that my dad is dead right now. Yeah. Good. That's great. That's I need awesome. You to go follow Minwoo because he has not gotten back with the Ultima. So go check on him because the Ultima is the only way we're going to win. Yeah. So they get on a boat. They're going out. They're going out to the place where Ultima is being kept when a giant whale, Leviathan, goes. Oh.
Yeah.
And it's
the biblical illusions begin.
Job is down there and he's like, my God. Yeah. Poor Job. I mean,
poor Job.
Really
curse God and die, Job. That's the advice his wife gave him. Curse God and die. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Ugh. You ever see that movie that's kind of based on the concept of the Book of Job?
Serious Man. Yeah. I watched that with Keeler. He got like an advanced copy from one of their professors, because our film professors were all like on the Oscar.
And they were pretty loose with their advanced copies.
Exactly. And they would just give them to us. And it was a good thing because they want us to stay on top of this shit. So that was nice. But we watched it. And I don't remember what the specifics were, but I remember neither of us were having a really good time.
Yeah,
I think we were both going through something.
Yeah, it is a Coen Brothers movie that is just an absolute fucking bummer.
And it ends with everything. It's like you're gonna die, and all your friends are gonna die, and life is
the most
hideous.
Downer ending.
It's the worst. It's so. And I remember we finished, and we're just staring at the TV for a minute, just kind of like that. And I remember Keeler standing up silently and walking to our kitchen because we lived together at the time. And as he's entering the kitchen, he just goes, "Well, that's just great." Just throws his hands. I was like, yeah, that kind of summarizes it all right there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, A Serious Man. It's an interesting.
It was a weird movie.
It has Richard Kind in it, and Richard Kind isn't even being funny in it.
No, I know. Isn't that nuts? It makes no sense. It's like watching a bird that doesn't fly.
Richard Kind is funny in everything.
He's awesome. He's the best. I just saw a video of him at a supermarket, like literally, just standing. Oh, he was next to the cheese aisle, and he's like trying to get recognized while he's eating cheese, and he's hideously lactose intolerant. So it's just a fucking mess all the way around. I love that guy. That guy rules.
He's great. If you haven't seen John Mulaney's Everybody's in L.A., go ahead and check that out. Richard Kind was his co-host / announcer for the show, and he's he does really good work.
Yeah.
In that.
Oh, he's terrific. He
is terrific. Also, it's a fun little. It's a fun show,
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's worth checking out,
I also heard he and Olivia Munn are expecting another kid.
Really? Good for them.
Yeah. He's just turning that into you know what? That's good. Let's keep going down that rabbit hole here.
Good for them. He got clean, he got sober, all that stuff. I do love stories about his intervention. He has a stand-up where he goes into the intervention, and
it's rough, man. It was hard to watch that because it's like he kind of accepted that he is not, that people are not going to look at him the same way. And that, his deep, dark secret, that wasn't really that much of a secret, is that he's kind of an asshole. Right. He's kind of an arrogant prick. And that special was just him going, you all know that now, right? I'm just going to lean into it for the special. And it was hard to watch. You're like, oh no, he was the sweet little Irish guy that I liked so much. Oh boy. Just, oof.
Well, I do like the fact that he was like, you remember my old specials where I would come out on stage and I would be like, yeah. You know how I was able to do that? Cocaine.
right. Lots of cocaine. My God, man.
Oh God. Yeah. So it was, it's good. I don't even know how, Richard Kind.
Richard Kind.
I would love to listen to this narrated by Richard Kind.
Just commentary by Richard Kind.
Do I have a Richard Kind impression? No, I don't.
It'd be a good one to have.
It'd be a good one to have. He has a very distinctive voice.
I think we could both do one if we. That's a homework assignment.
Assignment
for the next episode. Yeah, just let's try to
get your Richard Kind voice.
Put together a Richard Kind. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
You guys are listening. You have to hold us to it.
Yeah. So they get to they're in the belly of the beast, and they meet a guy. He is a dragoon. He is the last of them. He's from Deist. And he is not a founding father.
No.
That is a religious history reference.
A religious American history reference. That's
Thomas Jefferson would he had a version of the Bible that he kept
the
in his
Jefferson
bed,
Bible,
where it was like he took out everything magic. Basically,
he just was like, "Look, when you take all the bullshit out, it's actually a pretty good way to live your life."
It was very thin. It was a lot thinner.
Oh yeah. I went to Monticello once and they sell it in the gift shop, of course.
Oh, okay.
And it's a slim little tome. I think it's just the New Testament though. I don't think it's the whole Bible. Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy J.
Oh
boy. So the Dragoons off camera, had been annihilated. They had been poisoned by the Emperor. They were all dead because the Emperor feared them. They were like the most powerful military unit in the world. And he managed to take them out early with poison. The only one left is this guy named Ricard. And he is the last Dragoon. And he's like, he was there to try to get Ultima as well. Basically, Leviathan swallows everybody who is trying to get Ultima. But only lets there's a Ripley. But only lets the ones who are that deserve it go through.
Right.
Minwoo is not down there, so like, I guess Minwoo was he's already gotten through. All right.
Yeah, he made it through. He's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah.
So what they do is they decide to get all the gunpowder that they have between the Heroes of Light and the captain of the boat and his crew and Ricard, and they pile it up into a big old pile and they blow it up.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything at first, but then the Leviathan is like, you know what, fuck this, and decides to just vomit them all out.
Yeah, this is not worth it.
They're not worth it. Vomits them all out, and they're all spewed out towards the island that they were heading towards anyway.
Yeah. Hell of a way to travel.
Hell of a way to travel. The Mysidian Tower. They get there, and the captain's like, all right, well, I'm going to fix the boat since we're here. They get there, and Minwoo has just been kind of waiting.
Yeah. Yeah. kind of a dick move, really. It's just like you couldn't have felt. Okay, fine.
Minwoo was waiting, and he's like, well, I realized I can't go in and get it. And they're like, why not? And he's like, because it takes all of my energy to open the spell barrier. And they're like, what does that mean? He's like, it's going to fucking kill me. And they're like, oh. So Minwoo,
I guess it's okay that you showed up early. Then.
Yeah. Casts a spell, gets the spell barrier open, and then keels over and is dead. And they're like, well, God bless you. The most powerful character in the story.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from the Emperor, just fucking dies. So, yeah, they get in there and they talk to some glowing lights with that enter into their head. And they're like, we're gonna do it. And the voices are like, bring light to the hall. And Furion and Guy and Maria are like, yeah, doing it.
Yeah.
And they're given a tome. The tome is a spell book. And in that spell book is Ultima. And yeah, they're like, let's do it. Let's end the Emperor once and for all.
Let's finish the game.
Let's finish the game. Ricard decides not to return with them. He needs to go to Diest and check on see what happened to the rest of the Dragoons. They get back. Maria has been studying the Ultima spell on the way back. They learn of the Emperor's new weapon. So they have a Death Star 2 now, which is a magic cyclone that they're just using to wipe out cities. So like
they've got it's the government, it's the conspiracy theory of the government machine that controls the weather.
It's a weather controlled cyclone.
Exactly.
And so far, Altair, Gatria, Poft, and Paloom, the towns that have been visited throughout the game so far, have just been leveled. They're gone.
Well then. Shit.
So, they're like, all right, well, we got a Rickon, not Rickon. That's a Game of Thrones character. Ricard. Rickon ran straight instead of zigzagging, and so he died.
Of course.
Of course. Poor Rickon. You were the dumbest of the Starks.
Absolutely. Just a fucking moron. You walked right into that. You fucking never mind.
Never mind.
Forget.
You know, fuck it. Let's talk about it. Okay. Was it against the rules for him not to zigzag, for him not to serpentine a little bit?
Anything. Like just some level of self-preservation, man.
Between
like
what's his name letting go of the arrow, all he had to do was just pick a direction and change direction.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a homing arrow.
No. It's just wind your way down. It's not complicated, man.
This is like grievances from 8 years ago.
Yeah, this has been festering in our stomachs for a long time.
Oh God. Anyway,
yeah.
So they're gonna go kill the Emperor. They fly the wyvern to the Emperor's palace through into the eye of the storm, and where like the Emperor is, and they meet the Jester, and it's the Emperor again, and it's the same thing where it's the Emperor is an illusion, and they're like, shit, and then they kill the Jester because fuck that guy, and then the Emperor shows up.
It's like, oh well, that worked out. That's a freebie. That's really what it comes to. That's a freebie.
They fight the Emperor, and ultimately Maria uses the spell Ultima to stop the Emperor's magic, and they Ricard God damn it,
it's never going away.
So Furion and Guy basically do a cross slash, and they like cut him open from like shoulder to hip on both sides.
Yeah. Just do an X move on him.
And it's like,
pure Japanese samurai movie shit. It's awesome.
He dies, falls into a puddle of his own blood, and the Emperor is dead. They go back home. And then, what do you know? Some dude named Leon has declared himself Emperor of the Palamecian Empire. And they're like, shit.
Great. Just great. Okay.
So they're like, all right, we're going back. They get back there, and they fight. They find in Castle Palamecia, the Dark Knight is sitting there. They're like, Leon, what the fuck are you doing? And Leon's like, I saw the limits of being nice, and I decided to not be nice anymore. And
he's actually an incel of like, just like, I'm not nice guys finish last.
He loses once in a fight and becomes the world's biggest incel.
And it really is that.
Very divorced energy. There's a reason why he's Leon.
Yes.
That's an anagram. It's also what Trump called him.
Oh, that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Trump called Elon Musk Leon once.
That is fucking awesome, actually. Okay. All right. So that's a true Alien versus Predator, whoever wins, we lose kind of situation. But you know what? I'm going to say it. I'm going to point to Trump.
Let them fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Furion's like, that's bullshit. And Leon's like, but true power. And Furion's like, what? God damn it. And Maria, his sister's like, Leon, you dummy. What are you doing here? But then, the Emperor shows up again. And this time he is like a demon emperor. So he went down to hell after he died, and he like took over.
Yeah. You can't keep a good demonic emperor down. That's just how this works.
He is a demon of the underworld. He's 3 times his original size. And basically he causes the castle to start crumbling, and everybody, including Leon, gets back onto the airship, and they're on the airship, and they're looking down as the castle like crumbles and reforms as Castle Pandemonium, which is the castle of the underworld. And it's so Paramecium becomes Pandemonium.
Paramecium?
Paramecium, Palamecium.
I like Paramecium better.
Yeah. Too many.
Single cell organism. I like it.
The single celled organism grew into 2 cells. So Leon is like, all right, well, I guess I'm with you guys kind of.
For now.
For now. And then they we also lost Rickard in the exchange. Sure. Rickard like basically holds off the Emperor while the castle is crumbling so that the others can escape. But the
it's just one brave sacrifice after another.
One brave sacrifice after another. Yeah. So they get back down to Castle Pandemonium, and they run roughshod over the monsters in there. They're killing, they're getting towards the end, and they find the Emperor, and they're like, "We're gonna kill you." And the Emperor's like, I am the Emperor. You will not kill me. Guess what? They fucking killed him.
They fucking killed him. Yeah.
Yeah. So they kill him. They cleave him in 2. He's dead. And all the underworld starts falling apart, and then they leave. And
which is funny to me because I feel like you need an underworld. I feel like that's necessary. I feel like
it's like a necessary thing.
Yeah, I feel like you need that.
Yeah. They go back home. There's a party. Leon starts to leave, and his sister catches up with him, and he's like, I don't deserve this. And she's like, no, stay. You too deserve forgiveness. He's like, no. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And then he leaves.
Yeah. And then he puts on an iPod with postal service on it, and just moves on.
Well, it's actually the closing theme song from The Incredible Hulk.
Perfect. Oh yeah, and he's hitchhiking down the road.
He's hitchhiking down the road.
Yeah. Like, and they're like literally, it's like he's literally 15 feet away, and her sister's like, I'm right here. You could still, all right, fine.
He's just hitchhiking for a chocobo, you know?
I guess. Yeah. A chocobo like pulls up to him and is like, gas, grass, or ass, motherfucker. It's like, okay. Sucking a chocobo's dick so he can get to Tulsa.
I bet they got weird dicks.
I bet they got really weird dicks. I bet they're like feathery.
Like feathery, and they like corkscrew or something, and
yeah, something very unpleasant.
Split into 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
Birds, man.
Birds are fucked up.
So what do you think?
This is better than the last one. Mostly because he at least has an outline to follow. He's got but at the same time, it's, as we said in the beginning, I feel like this is such a big story, and that's what makes it so impressive on an 8-bit game. But it's such a big story that doing this is what, 50 pages? Doing like a 50-page novelette, not even a novella, it's doing it a disservice. It's not really giving you the best that it's got. So it's kind of brusque in the way it handles pretty much everything. Yeah, it's like, and then they did it, and then they're here, and this guy sacrifices himself heroically. He's like, well, I wish. And here's another one, and
I wish we had a little bit more punch. And I think that's the thing, is like with some of these characters that end up dying, I think probably in the game you spend more time with them.
Exactly.
So it
feels more. Yeah.
Whereas this, it's just like, oh, well, we just met him 2 pages ago.
Right. I don't really care. So
I'm not sure I care that much. So
right. It doesn't feel as you're not feeling weepy because Leon's leaving. I don't give a shit. That's fine. That's fine. In fact,
whatever, Leon. So It's fine. We'll see how Final Fantasy 3 goes.
Yes, how that sorts out.
How that sorts out. Which I also played for 30 seconds on my cracked DS, loaded with ROMs.
Nice.
That I legally had the right to play because I own copies of the game.
Yeah, sure. Fine, fuck it.
Fine. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you playing?
Oh, I am playing. I think I'm done with Visions of Mana. I don't mean that I've beaten it. I think I'm done.
You hit a point where you're like, nope.
I mentioned, I mentioned in the last episode that it's. I could tell that it's not the greatest game ever made, but despite all of that, there was a level of nostalgia and wistfulness that I was getting playing it, and that wore off.
Sure.
As it tends to do. I kind of anticipated that would be the case. It's not that it's completely useless. It has a lot of very fun button mashy kind of action RPG stuff going for it.
Right.
The storyline is interesting, but it just goes on and on and on. And the game, it feels too long for what it is. And we're repeating stuff. Like, I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over. The levels aren't that interesting. They'll give you a new little thing that you can do in that level specifically. Like you can, you've got a little spell that you can use it to basically Spider-Man your way across the room, but that's really the only place you use it.
Sure.
And it's just, and by the time, and another thing is, outside of the action stuff, they try to give you like fun little side quests that are like storyline based side quests. But the problem is they literally just come down to them saying, hey, well, we need these 3 ingredients or something, which, yeah, fine, sure. And you don't actually have to find them. You just look at your map and go where they are and talk to somebody and then come back. It's a giant waste of time. You're like, okay, great. I don't feel like I accomplished anything really. So I think after a while I was definitely playing it just for sunken cost fallacy shit. But I think after this weekend, I really gave it the old college try and was really digging into it.
You could say yeah, I think that's fair.
I think I'm done. Now that that's done, I played a couple of demos, as I want to do. I played the Rise of the Golden Idol demo.
Ooh.
Great demo. Because it comes down, I don't know if this is the first chapter in the game or if it's just for the demo, but it comes down to like 3 puzzles that you put together for it's like 3 levels that have their different puzzles. For anybody who's never played Rise of the Golden Idol, it's like a mystery adventure point and click kind of thing where you are collecting evidence from the scene before you and trying to use that to finagle out some kind of an explanation. And so you've got 3 of those, and then those 3, you at the end of that chapter have to, all the shit you learn from those 3, put together a theory on what the fuck happened.
Right.
And it's super fun. It is it's just goddamn, like they're giving that away for free, and it'll if you're interested in those kind of puzzle games, it'll scratch the hell out of that itch. It's really good.
When's it due to come out? It just says 2024.
I don't think they've announced it yet. If you check the discussion boards filled with people being like, "Oh my god, when is this coming out? For the love of God, tell us when it's coming out." So I don't think they've said,
because it's like it looks like it's like a present day setting versus Case of the Golden Idol, which was set in like the 1600s. Right.
It definitely has that. I think the illustrations, they're a little smoother. I wrote down a note here. They're less horrifying than the first game. The first game, the art style is fucking horrifying. There's something so...
It looks like it's the same art style, but a little bit more refined.
Just a little more refined, and I don't know if I like it better as a result, because there was something kind of spooky and weird about that first art set, but it's still a very good art design.
Yeah.
The puzzles are challenging without making you want to scream at the top of your lungs, which I'm big on. I'm not a puzzle guy who enjoys punishing himself too hard. I just want to enjoy it and have a good time and feel vaguely clever, right? Not even like fully clever.
Yeah.
I played it for, how long did I play it for? How long did it? Yeah, I got an hour and 15 minutes out of it.
It's not bad for a demo.
That's pretty good for a demo. Yeah, it was very enjoyable, and by the end of it, I got that old feeling of like, oh shit, I'm gonna totally buy this when it comes out. I guess I had forgotten how much, it's been a while since I played the other one and the first one, and you kind of forget. You're like, oh, okay, that I remember having fun, but whatever. And man, it's the perfect kind of amuse-bouche for like, oh right, I liked this game a lot. So really good stuff. And frankly, even if you have no intention of buying the game itself, it's a solid little demo. So it's worth playing just for that alone. After that, I played the demo for Epic Mickey. The Epic Mickey rebrushed remaster, because this has been basically we live in an age where at this point I'm getting remasters of a bunch of games that I never got a chance to play when they first came out. It's what a time to be alive. It's
what
glorious.
A time to be alive.
It's
remasters were remastering things I never knew were even released in the first place.
Exactly. And it's for anyone who hasn't played it, it's a platformer Disney game. Mickey is the silent protagonist. He's Link. He doesn't say anything the entire time, and you are in this world that was created by like a wizard when he spills his ink on the Disney map, basically. So you go in there, and the main play style thing is, you got regular jumping platforming stuff, but you have access to paint, and you have access to paint thinner, and there are different scenic pieces that, depending on the state they're in, you can either remove them to be able to go behind them or find something underneath them or whatever. Awesome. Yeah, or you can use the paint to put them in place so you can hop on them and hop to the next place. Very, very clever. I'm really enjoying it. Some solid little combat. It was not a long demo. I think it was just long enough. It gives you a good taste for it. It looks great. Sure. It's real pretty, and I enjoyed it until I started to consider, because you can use the thinner to fight off enemies and stuff, which makes sense because they're paint. And then I realized, am I using dip from Who Framed Roger Rabbit to kill these guys?
Yes.
Yes, I am. And a chill ran down my spine as that occurred to me. I was like, oh, this is way darker than Epic Mickey was just a way of saying this is fucked up, dude. So I was like, well, this is interesting. I remember being kind of intrigued. I'll play the demo. Let's try. I really liked it. It was a fun experience. So that one's worth taking a look at too.
I need to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit again.
Oh man, fucking, it holds up so good.
I mean, you got Christopher Lloyd at the height of his powers as Judge Doom.
Oh yes, yes.
Just the scene where he is walking around the bar, and he's just going, shave and a haircut.
Oh, I mean, god damn it, he's good. And it comes down to being, I mean, the thing for anyone who hasn't watched that movie recently, it's like a top 10 noir movie.
Yeah.
Like it might be like in the top 10 of best film noirs. It's a cartoon. That's it's cartoon land.
It's like, it's a cartoon. It's a comedy, but also a pretty dang good noir mystery.
Yes, a really good one with all the femme fatales and the twists and all that shit. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to watch that again too. That's a solid movie.
Yeah, I need to show that to Camilla. I'm not sure I've ever showed it to her.
Oh God, that's so good. But that's me. That's what I've been playing. Kevin, what about you? What are you playing?
Okay, so I have been playing UFO 50.
Oh, fucking okay. All right.
Which is all right. So there's 50 games in here, and there's so many to talk about. So it basically like fills out your what are you playing for like the rest of the year.
Sure.
So whenever you start a game for the first time, it's called dusting it off, right? So you dust it off. Because when you see them for the first time on the screen, all the like cartridges or discs or whatever, they're like grayed out and they have like cobwebs over them. So
okay. So it's like the UI kind of thing with that.
So you can actually select to play it. Like the dust gets blown off.
What a nice touch. That's really cool.
The game fires up, and the games they're all cute and clever, but I've cycled through a bunch of them just like to try them out, little bits and pieces. So like I've dusted off like 25 of them, but some of them it's like I put in a few minutes, got the gist, and be like, okay, all right, I'm moving on to the next one. There's been a couple that have stopped me, and I'm just going to talk about one tonight because I think it's worth like sitting with because it's the first one I beat. It's a game called Night Manor, and it is basically Deja Vu or Shadowkeep.
Nice. Okay.
One of those style games. It's a first person point and click where you play a character who had just been leaving a party. You get into a car accident and you wake up in this creepy house and you have to walk through the house and figure out what's going on. And basically there's a Mr. X type thing to it. Right. So it's in the style. It's in like it's like in the style of like a game from 1988. Very much Deja Vu or what have you. Yeah. But there's a lot of quality of life improvements. It's like, okay, it moves faster and what have you. Right. So as you're going through the first floor, you get into the kitchen. And there's this guy just standing in the corner of the kitchen, like facing away from you. And as soon as you go, there's like a knife sitting on the table. As soon as you go to grab the knife, he turns around and he starts chasing. Like he has his like axe. He has an axe up, right? He's going to attack you with an axe or a cleaver, I believe it is. And suddenly your cursor, instead of being like smooth movement, starts shaking.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a fun idea.
You have to like choose where to go. So like you have to basically run away from him, and you get to a point where in one of the rooms you'll be able to hide. Like some rooms will have curtains and you can hide behind the curtains, and then it turns into a mini game where you have to like the cursor moves back and forth and you have to press the button when it's in like the green zone, right? So we'll go
excellent.
Bing, and it goes back and it keeps like this green zone gets smaller and the cursor moves faster each time.
Yeah.
And 3 failures, he finds you.
Okay.
So if he finds you, you die and then you wake up back in the room and it says that must have been a bad dream and you carry on. Each time that he finds you though, it takes out one of the actually sometimes I think it does it regardless. So there'll be a room with 4 curtains. That means you can hide in that room 4 times, because each time you hide in that room, after you leave and come back, one of the curtains will just have been ripped down.
Okay, yeah.
So like the places where you can hide are reduced over time. Yeah. It's a really cool story, like little horror story built into it, because you can find journal entries as you're going through. And it's not just, it's neat with I can't remember which of the devs did this game, but it's neat what they did with it, because the journal entries not only give you background as to what happened in this house, but it also gives you hints occasionally about where certain items are, or what items, like how to solve certain puzzles, or what have you. So I was playing. It took me like maybe 2 or 3 hours to play through and get the first ending of the game, which is just escaping, just like getting into a car. And then it was like another couple hours beyond that to be like, oh, there's a lot more to figure out, basically, because I know I didn't unlock a couple doors. So it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours maybe total.
And that's just one of the 50 games on there.
That's just one of the 50 games. Now, there's a lot of games in there which are just like arcade games. So it's basically you play them as long as you're having fun. You set the scores. They have multiplayer components, so you can play against other people online through Steam or what have you. So you can have those two-player components. A few of the games. So there's, and as you cycle through the UFO 50 UI, it'll just be like the base UI is like chronological order. So you have the first game released to the last game released. So it's like this game is from 1982. They're all from 2014 or 2024. It's right. But in this alternate universe within the universe within the game, this first one, I think it's called Barbuda, is the first game where it's 1982. And then there's one called Cyber Owls, which is 1989. And Barbuda is fascinating. I need to get back to it. I know some people have said, "Oh man, this game is terrible," and to me, it's like, oh, it feels like home. It's got a little bit of jank. It's like an adventure game. It's pretty punishing, pretty unforgiving as you're kind of like fighting your way through like the monsters, and it's like, oh, there's like, it'll be like you step on a brick and like the ceiling falls down on you. And there's like, and be like, oh, okay, I guess I did see that brick was slightly different than all the other ones.
Right.
Cyber Owls is hilarious because it reminds me of one of the Batman side-scrolling beat-em-up games. And it's pretty fascinating because when you have a character and you're fighting through a level, and I've only played it a little bit, fighting through a level and you lose, the character gets killed or whatever, the character isn't killed off, because you have a choice of like 4 cyber owls from this group to play as. The character isn't killed off, they just get captured. And then there's another like game mode where you have to break into the enemy's base and recapture the person who was lost. And that's the only way you can play that level because each character is assigned a certain level. So it's all, I don't know, UFO 50. It's like, I'm going to have a lot of thoughts about UFO 50 over the coming weeks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's games that are like, well, this is, very inspired by this. This is, very inspired by this thing that I played as a kid. And then there are some that are just like, oh, the current one that I'm really diving into that I'll talk about probably next week, is called Valbrace, and it is a first-person dungeon crawl game, but the combat is it's a first-person dungeon crawl meets Punch-Out, because you move your character from side to side. He has stamina, and it's basically like when you're hitting like orcs or whatever. They have like the look on their face of like a Punch-Out boxer, and it's like,
that's some clever shit. Oh wow, okay, yeah. This is gonna have to be one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wishlist that.
That's on there. That looks great. That looks really great.
So I obtained my first cherry disc, which I'm not sure what that means. I think that's like completing a game or something.
Probably
like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
But yeah, That's what I've been playing is UFO 50. Not for everybody. I'll say this. It's probably not for everybody, but if you have two things. If you have a nostalgia for a certain era of games, but are often put off by the way people try to recapture that nostalgia, this is something that I truly appreciate because it doesn't make any excuses for the difficulty of the era, but it also refines it with quality of life improvements. It's not like a superficial thing where a lot of pixel art games back in the day were just trying to like say, oh, it's like Super Nintendo. Like it's a little bit deeper. It feels a little bit more like a thorough acknowledgement of that era. So that's kind of, so if you're from that era, I think you'll get that kind of appreciation out of it. But also, if you're just into, these indie game devs, this team that, Derek Yu and a bunch of other people collaborated together to create, Derek Yu being the creator of Spelunky. If you're interested in seeing what they would do, given the opportunity to create 50 games, like in this kind of, within these kind of guardrails, I think it's, if you're into that kind of stuff, it's worth checking out.
Nice.
So, UFO 50, tell your friends.
Very, very fun. That looks so good.
So that will be tonight's episode. If you want to, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. We have a TikTok. We don't have much there, but we probably could start posting on there.
We could probably get on there.
We could probably do some stuff on there. And YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube. We're at 312 subscribers as of recording of this episode. We're trying to get to 500. So if you're listening to us and you're usually a Spotify person, take the time to wander over to YouTube and just click that subscribe button. Just to juice our numbers a little bit,
Yeah, come on.
Juice them up.
Yeah.
That'll do it for tonight's episode. Thank you so much for listening and have a good evening.
Bye.